What is For the Children and what is its goal?
For the Children of Milton was a nonprofit that was formed back in 2014. We started doing renovations, and then in 2017 we started taking in children that have been abused, abandoned, neglected, or orphaned throughout the state. Long story short, I'm an insurance agent, and I had one of my customers who was a nurse in our school system and told me that she was a nurse for the homeless. And I started asking questions, what do you mean homeless? Why do we have homeless children? And she relayed to me that at that time, 2014, there were over 1,600 homeless children in the state of Florida. So, long story short, again, I jumped into a lunch meeting that same day with my husband and some friends and said, we've got to do something. We need to help. We need to provide care for children. And it spiraled way faster than I could possibly imagine. The amount of children we have on a day-to-day basis varies depending on the need in the state and depending upon availability for the household. But we've had almost 30 children that have been through the house since 2017 to present. And about 19 of those children have already been reunited with family members. So that's the good story. We have about 19 beds in the facility. With licensing's request, they would like to see about 14 at the max, and that's with 2 sets of house parents. The secondary building beside is part of the new legislation that we have to have a secondary kitchen. Anyone who's seen our kitchen knows that it's quite large, and we have 2 refrigerators, 2 dishwashers, 2 microwaves, the whole 9 yards, but their requirement is that we have 2 separate living conditions with 2 separate stationary kitchens. So that will meet the need of having a secondary kitchen, and the possibility of that second house parent that would come in. We're actually interviewing couples right now, and hopefully, we found one that might be ready to jump on board, and that will allow us to grow and expand quicker than we had thought. The biggest need, like I mentioned, was that secondary kitchen. The side house has been, under duress for a very long time. Broken windows, we have trees growing out of our roof, so I guess it's kind of our greenhouse. But it's been gutted and it's empty and it needs updating, whether it's electrical, plumbing, cabinetry, anything to get it livable again to where we can grow and have that secondary couple come in behind us and start, growing a little bit more. The projected goal for now was to enclose it and get some electrical in the building. We've talked about a skills lab to where people in the community can come in and teach a child a skill, whether it's changing oil or, welding something, anything that they can learn as a trade to help them, progress. The other thing that I've been kind of toying with and questioning with is bringing in a licensed psychiatrist or psychologist that we could actually do a quiet playroom space with a psychiatrist to where they could do some play therapy and have therapy in-house versus taking them all one by one to individual appointments all throughout, the Tri-County. So many needs that we have seen have been undescribable. And one of our first sibling groups, which is kind of our focus, we try to look at that sibling group so the state doesn't split them up and we can keep them together. So that's been our primary goal. One of our first sibling groups was a family of 4. And I'm sorry if I get a little choked up. There were 3 older brothers and a younger toddler. When the toddler came to us, he could not speak, and was very withdrawn. And when we first, the first couple nights, I would sit in the rocking chair and I would rock him. He's punched me in the nose a couple times, but I just kept on doing it. And what really got me was the other 3 brothers, although they were much older, the oldest being 8 years old, they all one by one wanted to crawl in my lap and have me start rocking them. And it just made me realize that they had no attachment, they had no one to give them that individual care and that personal touch, and they all thrived with it. It just goes to show that I think when I first started, I didn't have a true picture in my head of what I could offer a child. I know I've raised my own children and I have grandchildren and I've taught Sunday school and all those other things, but you don't realize what they're lacking. Just from the simple things of rocking a child to sleep or telling them a story. And I realized very quickly, into the process that all I really need to do is love a child. Anybody can love a child. And so it became more of they just need love. They just need someone to give them that one-on-one attention. And that's what stuck out to me. So through it all, I don't look at what I can provide for them or what I can give them or what I can do for them in their future. I look at they just need love. They need love today and every day. All that y'all have done through the years has been such a blessing and helped us to continue doing what we do. So I wanted to thank each and every one of you.